is Majo John Madden in my camper van, no longer up on that beautiful hillside. I'm at the mechanical shop where Edgar, who's a whiz, really impressive mechanic. The mechanic in El Diamante who stuck me with a $3,000 rebuilt engine that's not running right was making it up as he went along. He's 28 and his helpers were younger. They were using YouTube videos to install the engine, and I think I was on the job training for him, a guinea pig. They maybe had never installed an engine. It was just not running right. So my new friend Rubiel from the restaurant got me to his mechanic, who Edgar is, he's awesome, he's a mensch. And he got in the car. You can't get through the engine through the hood. You gotta take this out and take that out. But he just put something under the dashboard there that plugged into something in the electrical system, I guess, and gave him a readout. And in 10 minutes he said, looks like piston 4. It's not firing right. So I'm back today for him to actually look at the engine, pull all that out, and give me an estimate. I'm not going to do the work this month. I don't have the money left anymore. And I've been trying to not be so poor this month. I chose not to do the car work and just putter around on top of the hill here, basically. So I left off that last video talking about the 3 dogs in El Diamante that I love so much. And I did love them. I love them passionately. And I always knew, in the background that they were a distraction, because wonderful as they were new and they were temporary. And Magic had been with me for 1.5 years and was the best dog I ever had in my life. Seamless. So beautiful. So agile. So athletic. So smart. We were such comrades in arms. We were inseparable. He was a rescue. I had found him in a swamp north of New Orleans. Somebody had dumped him there. So he was great as long as I was with him. But he didn't like having... He didn't mind if I was out of sight. He'd go for long runs. He'd go for long runs in the dunes at the north end of South Padre Island. He'd run. He'd get way away from me, but he always knew basically where I was and that he could find me. Yeah. So, best dog ever, people would say. How many thousands of dollars did you train that dog to behave so perfectly on the way to the Walmart store? In the Walmart store, I often walked through not having him on a leash in the Walmart store, just to show off how well behaved he was. He walked exactly right next to me. And I'd greet managers, a little gaggle of managers. I'd greet them and say, hi, just to draw their attention to the fact that this big dog was walking through the store not on a leash. I obviously had it in my hand. And they'd say, hi. They didn't see any problem because the dog was that well behaved. Yeah, he was amazing. So, it all got complicated. The first breakdown of the car was in Victoria, second day into Mexico, and I was broken down for 6 weeks. And the last 13 days were on the mechanical compound of my friend Josue. And on that compound, it was all older men hanging. I used to say it was like the Latino equivalent of the barber shop. And the mechanical shops do tend to be that way, that the guys hang out. But this was a crew of older guys, and they really didn't like dogs. But there were 7 dogs there, and a bunch of puppies. Not getting around yet, thank God. But the 7 dogs, they wouldn't feed them. No. They could throw them a scrap every once in a while. They were voraciously hungry, all 7 of them, and absolutely didn't touch any of them. And dog that I gave the name of Bear. He's a big, dark brown, almost black dog. Gorgeous dog. The biggest one of the batch there. And toughest. Yeah, he was top dog around there. And he beat other dogs up, not for the fun of it, but just as they got out of line. And second day there, he gave Magic a whooping. Didn't hurt him, didn't bite him, but pounced on him and shook him up. And God bless Magic, the next day, Bear I had been giving him treats and then giving him petting, and he was gentle. So the next day we were going for a long walk. Nobody else took dogs for walks. It was out in the country in the foothills of the mountains. It was gorgeous. I take them all for walks every day, a couple times a day. And they'd all turn into hunting dogs and get happy and become, instead of sniping at each other and jumping on each other in the compound, they'd become a pack and loved hunting. And on one of those walks, Bear tried to just be sweet to Magic because he had shifted. And Magic gave him shit. Magic got in his face and just blasted him to say, I didn't forget that, man. You don't pull that shit on me anymore. And he didn't. He never did. He respected it. He could have kicked Magic's ass, but he took it. He said, "Oh, good. Okay, so that's how it's gonna be. You're my equal." And they were. They were equals. And they became like brothers. In the compound there, they became like brothers. They hunted together. Yeah. 13 days when it was time that the car was done, time for us to leave, my heart was breaking about leaving all of them behind because they were pitifully mistreated there, but especially Bear. And I said, any danger, because I had not left in 13 days, that these dogs will follow me? No, this is their home, and they don't like that busy street out there. Well, Bear did. It was late, it was getting dark. I had picked out a spot where I wanted to go, just about a quarter of a mile away. And Bear followed us. I got there, and shit, there's Bear with us. He had run down the highway where cars were running 60 miles an hour, followed us. And I said, wow, good, you're on the team now, you're part of the family. And he became part of the family. And we spent 8 days in Los Troncones Parque Ecologico outside of La Libertad, the little sweet little town that the compound was next to, part of, basically. And there was a magical park. Oh my God, what a gorgeous park. In 8 days, those dogs running together made me so happy. And Magic didn't need me as much, almost too much he didn't need me. He was so attached to Bear that I became not a nothing to him, but he was less needing me and more bound. He had a brother. Then in Tampico, a few weeks later, we were parked in the Walmart parking lot, but it was urban. It was an urban Walmart. And Bear, being not domesticated and not bonded to me like Magic, would go exploring every night. He always did that. He'd go exploring at night. He got hit out on the street because I found him in the morning when I said, okay, let's go for a walk. He couldn't stand. And I got him to a vet in that neighborhood, and he says, we thought it was a broken paw only. He definitely had that. And that he'd been the vet showed me all the cuts and scrapes. He had obviously been dragged down the road. And he wept. That vet wept. What a man he was. He just showed me this and that and this and that, and he wept what he'd been through. So he was a hero to me, but it turned out he clearly had some injury much worse than that. It turned out he had a broken hip, but nobody else knew that but me, but I was sure he had something very serious. And we went through such crap. And finally the vet said, no, we don't have to put him down. He's healing. He is healing. He's going to be okay. It's going to be a long recovery, and he's going to be a long... I said, will he run again? Well, we don't know that. But he'll walk good. He'll have a quality of life. So what ensued was a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks, where Bear was an invalid. He was hobbling, and he was in pain. But I was going, okay, he's healing though, so that's good. So I don't have to fear that he's dying. He's not dying. But Magic wasn't getting his needs met because Magic needed long walks, and I couldn't take him for long walks because I was with the invalid dog. But neither of them liked the car. Magic never liked the car, and I was trying to get into a travel mode. I was trying to lay down some tracks, and it was hot. Very, extremely hot. Bear, so unhappy in the car. I think he had never been in a car. He threw up. First few times he was in the car, he lost his lunch. He got over that, but then he would stand. He was a big dog, and he would stand on that seat. And if I hit a speed bump, which they're all over here, or didn't slow down real hard to not go flying over a speed bump, he got thrown. He got thrown, and one day I think he broke another paw because he was really limping on his what had been his good leg. It was dire. It was dire, and I was breaking down. He was like 60 pounds, and I was having to lift him in and out of the car. And he was a street dog. He did. When he realized that the life of traveling with me, number one, it was going to involve a lot of time in the car, but meant he was supposed to do what I told him to do? No, man, no. I'm my own agent. I run my own show. I decide where I'm going to go. So he wouldn't cooperate with me. When it was time to lift him into the car, he either wouldn't come or he'd just turn himself into dead weight, just a sack of potatoes. Would not help me lift him into the car at all, and I was starting to resent him, and I was physically breaking down. I could not do it anymore. So the day that Bear went away was the day I was trying to make mileage. I was in Costa Rica, which is a big spread out town, and I had been up all night. We had been at a different Walmart, but they had thrown us out in the middle of the night. And there was terrible mosquitoes around there. I could not sleep. I ended up on 1 hour of sleep. I had 1 hour of sleep. And then I got terribly lost in Tuxpan because I had my minutes, Telcel minutes had run out. None of my apps were working. GPS was not working. And I wandered around and around and around in Tuxpan. Finally got out of there, got to Costa Rica. And I needed a nap. I really needed a nap, and every place I tried to nap, it was either too noisy or too sunny, or there was a daycare and they were going to call about this big black van. And every time it didn't work out, I had to get them back in the car. And Magic had learned from Bear, his bro, that he didn't have to do what I asked him to do. No. Defying me was now part of his repertoire, whereas he'd always been impeccably well behaved. And so that terrible day, every time I tried to get them back in the car, they wouldn't come, and I had to fight both of them. And at one point, I just drove. I left them. I drove a quarter of a mile. And I knew Magic would catch up, which he did, but he was scared when he got there. He was shaken up, like he felt abandoned, obviously, because I abandoned him. And I went back. And Bear had been trying to hobble after us. So I said, okay, good. Finally, the last stop, he went behind, he slipped under a barbed wire fence way back on a compound that I was not allowed to be at. And I knew I couldn't carry him up to the car. It was way up the hill. So I was bringing him stuff. I was bringing him food and water and saying, say, okay, good luck. But when I got down to him, the security guard of that thing said, you can't be here. Go. Along the way, he said, beautiful dog. This is a gorgeous dog. But he said, go, you can't. I said, okay, I have to take all this stuff back up, and then I'll come back and get the dog. And I knew I was lying. I knew I was going to take off. And my heart was breaking, and I was feeling like a complete asshole. I, who loved dogs so much, was about to let that dog die. Maybe. He was used to being such a powerful dog, but he was a patsy at this point for any dog who wanted to pick on him. The next day, I said, that guy really liked Bear. So who knows? Maybe he adopted him or found a place for him. But I'll never know. I'll never know what happened to Bear. Magic had seen me abandon a dog. And he got it. He got it. This guy's capable of leaving you. So the whole 3 months with Bear really did terrible damage to our relationship. It never was the same. And him seeing me abandon Bear, who he loved and resented a lot at that point, he wanted nothing to do with me. He was staying away from me. He was mad at me and didn't trust me. So we had one good day, and then another travel day. It started nice, started fine from this Pemex station outside of Martinez. But it was hot and my car was breaking down. That was the new thing. My car was breaking down and in bad places, unsafe places. And if I gave it a half an hour, it would start again. But every time I did that, magic would not come out of the bushes. So one time I took off and drove half a mile. And he caught up. But he was shaken and mad at me, and our relationship was really being ruptured. And then he did it again. Oh, what did he do? He started to get in the car, but then decided not to and went back where he was. So I was furious and I was exhausted. Another night, the Pemex station had turned out to be a big truck stop, and I had slept an hour again. So I was physically a wreck and emotionally a wreck and grieving Bear. So that last time that he wouldn't come, I said, okay, I'll give you a chance. I'm going to go far enough that if you really want to still be with me, you can catch me. But you're going to have to work at it. And I overshot. I probably went 3 miles. And waited. I figured he could make it in a half hour. I took a nap. I dozed off, and it was an hour and a half, and he wasn't there. I know the exact spot because the bus from El Diamante to Martinez goes exactly by that spot. I left. I just continued on my trip. I said, okay, that's it. He's gone. And he was. He's gone. Never seen him again. That's 4 months now. Never seen him again. And the story I tell myself about magic is that just like with me, where I spotted a jewel in the rough, that someone would see how gorgeous he was and how well behaved and how athletic and that he has a good home. But I don't know. I'll never know. So yesterday I shot a video where I had been giving food to this Martinez, wherever the hell we are, Jalapa dog, and then he wanted to follow me home. So I started this video. The video will be up when this is up, where I'm saying, well, see, I have abundance. Everywhere I go, I have dogs. But then, a minute into, 30 seconds into the video, dogs who I had fed the other day were startled in the darkness and got seriously aggressive and I had to really use my big voice to stop them from biting me. And street dogs don't usually, very rare, but they can. They were acting like they might. So it kind of sent, number one, the lie of, oh yeah, I have abundance, I have other dogs in my life, and it's fine. No. And in El Diamante, I would try to tell, after a while I got some courage, because I haven't told the story to anybody. No. And in El Diamante I tried, but they didn't get it about dogs. The idea of loving a dog that much just they couldn't hear me. They just couldn't hear it. They didn't hear the words. So last night, what was going on? I guess I was sitting here in the van, and it all came home to me. It finally hit me. Caught up with me. It took 4 months for me, but I grieved. I've done other rounds of crying over the 4 months, but it hit me so hard last night, and I wept. I was laying down in the bed, and I wept and wept and wept and wept and wept. So here I am. Life is good. Life is better in Jalapa. I've got better friends. They're more sophisticated. They're really interesting. They're funny like I am. I've got people who love me already after 2.5 weeks. I don't admit. I'll never know what happened to him. I'll never have him. And my life is better without a dog now because I have to take buses and cabs and yeah, I could not have the life I'm having right now while having a dog. And I know that. And I know that God was not just fucking with me. There's a reason, but it still hurts. So, no matter how spiritual you get, the pain doesn't stop hurting. And if you're more sensitive and more aware than before, it hurts more. It passes faster, you heal it faster. But in the middle of it, like today, I bet tomorrow I'll be lots better. But right now, it just hurts like a fuck. That's enough.